ladies and gentlemen, I just jumped through the roof there. I don't know if you quite seen. I just fell down there. Hello. Today we're going to be checking out Joplin, the tornado that changed America. Could be called Joplin. Joplin. Who really knows? What I do know is, Michael, you haven't subscribed yet. Why not, brother? I can see you sitting there, man. Now, this is a serious one because apparently this changed America. I've seen a lot of other video titles on this one, and apparently this is a biggie. I think it was the most expensive one in history. I think that was one of the titles of the YouTube, but I didn't decide to click that one. I decided to click this one, okay? Because the other one was an hour long, and I don't got time for that. By the way, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. As always, you're the bloody best.
It's Sunday, May 22nd, 2012, in Joplin, Missouri. May is a warm month.
Oh shit, this is quite recent then. And no wonder it's the most expensive thing, inflation.
Known for the entrance of spring, but as anyone who grew up in Tornado Alley knows, April showers bring May storms. Joplin doesn't know it yet, but by the day's end, it would have experienced one of the most devastating tornadoes recorded in modern American history.
Joplin? Wait, is Joplin a town, is that what it's called? I didn't know tornadoes got names. Is Joplin a place?
A tornado so devastating, it would change the city forever. The EF5 rated tornado would wreak its havoc for over 32 minutes, raging on for nearly 22 miles and reaching a maximum width of 1 whole mile. This is the story of the Joplin tornado.
A mile?
A storm that would change an entire region of the country for good.
Oh my good God. That's a 32 miles.
In Joplin, a very dangerous situation once again, very dangerous lightning, some very large hail.
What am I looking at? I'm sorry for pausing again. After this video in like an hour, I've got another video going live. You're going to want to see it. I done some storm chasing. Tornadoes. True story. So make sure you got your notification bell on because it's a big one.
Strange thing. It can change within seconds. It can destroy and create. Rainfall, although necessary for life, can also be a sign of something far worse to come. It can show signs of impending danger, as it did in Joplin.
Okay.
May 21st, a day before the storm, meteorologists tracked an area of low pressure over South Dakota, alongside steep lapse rates and dew points above 60 Fahrenheit.
These videos are like horror videos,
for
man.
supercells to form. Lapse rates are the rate at which the temperature in the atmosphere falls with altitude, and they can apply to any atmospheric variable. The meteorologist—
Hold on, let me see this now. Raising air parcel expands and cools. Lapse rates diagram. What does this mean? Low pressure air comes down. This one goes up. Sinking air parcel is compressed and warms. Okay, so it goes up and then it comes down. Alright.
Just mainly focus on temperature. Dew points are a measurement of the temperature that a given body of air needs to be cooled in order to become saturated with water vapor. Supercells are a form of a powerful storm, but they don't necessarily signal the formation of a tornado. For the most part, a supercell indicates that conditions may be favorable for tornadoes. They are, however, extremely easy to spot. Unlike your standard small-scale storm, they're visually menacing. With a giant wall of dark clouds barreling down on an area.
Nah, I don't like that, man. That's scary, bro.
Supercells of something called a mesocyclone. This meaning that the storm contains a deep, persistently rotating updraft, and they appear as rotating thunderstorms and are the least common form. They tend to be the most severe and can last anywhere.
That's the devil's dick right there. I won't be told any different, man. That is, it wreaks havoc. It's massive and it's gonna do some damage. You know what I mean? Holy sh...
2 to 4 hours on average. On that fateful May 21st night, meteorologists predicted a risk of hail, but the tornado risk was relatively isolated. The National Weather Service issued that there was a slight risk of severe storms for the upper plains in the Midwest, sending it out at around 8 a.m. No one, however, could have predicted what was actually coming. The National Weather Service issued that there was a slight risk of severe storms for the upper plains in the Midwest.
Slight risk!
Sending it out at around 8 a.m. the following morning. 8 a.m., May 22nd, forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center of the National Weather Service realized that the storm that they had previously labeled as a slight risk would end up being far worse than they had imagined.
Oh dear.
The risk was upgraded to moderate for a large portion of the Midwestern United States, and a cold front and dry line were forecasted to intersect in the areas of Kansas and Missouri, alongside the low pressure system, a very strong storm front.
Where is Joplin? Can you guys let me know? Like, is there anybody watching this now that was near it, or possibly even in it, or what's going on?
Would form along the moving cold front. 11:30 a.m. Updates would reveal that the predicted storm would become a severe weather event. The SPC would update their forecasts,
Like
warning
it's
the public
definite?
of a heightened risk of severe weather that would be accompanied by tornadoes, large hail, and strong winds. 1:30 p.m. There's only 4 hours left before the tornado touches the ground. The SPC has now issued a tornado watch for southwestern Missouri to remain in effect until 9 p.m. A tornado watch is when conditions are favorable for the formation of a tornado, while a
We
tornado
got some tornado tips. Take shelter in the lowest interior room, preferably a basement, abandoned vehicles or mobile homes. That's a crazy one. Because people live in mobile homes. So where do you go? What do you do when you say when they say you can't stay at home? Well, you can if you want, but you really shouldn't. You know, it's a tip. But if it's your home, how do you simply just get up and leave? That must be hard. Lie flat in a low-lying area and cover your head. Watch out for flying debris. Do not try and outrun a tornado in a vehicle. That would be me, man. That would be me, and I'll be away on this guy. Goodbye.
tornado warning.
That would be
is
me,
when the risk
100%.
is inevitable. The issued tornado watch predicted, quote, explosive thunderstorm development.
That's
Alongside
literally my stomach after eating a bad curry.
strong tornado, potentially even 2 p.m. Thunderstorms began developing over the next
Oh,
hour
here we go.
over southeast Kansas. The thunderstorms rapidly became more
It's always
severe.
Kansas,
Development
isn't it?
moved to the east. 5:17 p.m. A tornado warning would be issued for a severe thunderstorm west
What
of
am I looking
Joplin,
at?
Missouri. Less than 20 minutes before the tornado would move over
Oh.
Joplin, civil defense sirens blared out across the city, warning of the impending tornado. The warning had been
hell
initially
no.
issued for northwestern Newton County and southwestern Jasper County, both located in Missouri, as well as southeastern areas of Cherokee County and Kansas. But unfortunately, many residents of Joplin didn't heed these warnings,
Oh,
creating the
shit.
perfect conditions for the massive
You
destruction.
know, like, look at this destruction. It's like Google Maps. You know the way Google Map is really some most of the time. Well, it used to be anyway when it first came out. It was like really low resolution. You couldn't actually make out any houses, so it was just a completely flat smudge where you could kind of make out where buildings should be. That's literally what this is, and this is a real fucking video.
conditions for the massive destruction that would follow.
Oh my god.
Newton County, Missouri was the first area hit by the tornado. The area was just east of the border between Missouri and Kansas, and storm chasers and people
Where is
in
that,
the area
Texas?
reported the formation of multiple vortices around the central tornado. At first, graded at EF0, it caused damage to several large trees. As it moved, however, it strengthened to an EF1 intensity.
What's
For most
that?
of its beginning, the tornado rushed through rural areas, destroying trees, downing power lines, and damaging buildings, but it wasn't even close to its maximum strength. The tornado began to widen and moved into a more densely populated area of Joplin, and now at an EF3, it began to heavily damage homes in the suburban neighborhood. Pushing through, it moved into another subdivision, destroying more homes, tossing cars, and increasing in strength to an EF4. 5:38 p.m. The tornado is now at a
EF4.
massive wedge shape. Just 4 minutes after touching down, it had
Does
been
it go
upgraded to an
EF5?
EF4 and was now flattening commercial buildings.
Oh!
Wreaking carnage through southern Joplin, the tornado was beginning to show signs of strengthening to an EF5. It was flattening homes, businesses, and medical buildings, while concrete walls stood no chance against it. The first major
That's
destructive
the scariest thing about these tornadoes, man. Like, concrete walls are getting whipped out of the floor by wind. Like, do you know how mad that is? That basically means if you survive, it's 50-50. That's what that basically means. Because you can't exactly go into the house and be like, oh, I'm safe in here. And then you fucking get blew away.
event would occur when the now EF5
know what I mean?
tornado struck St. John's Regional Medical Center. Nearly every window on 3 sides of the building was destroyed, while interior walls, ceilings, and part of the roof were damaged beyond repair.
Oh
the life flight
my
helicopter
goodness.
used for airlifting people to the center was completely destroyed,
Please
while
don't tell
backup
me-
generators were lost as well,
Oh, it wasn't
leading to
flying.
5 fatalities in the hospital. Vehicles in the parking lot were mangled and tossed, including a semi-truck that was
Look
tossed
at that!
125 yards from the lot and wrapped entirely around a tree. Debris from the hospital were found miles east of Joplin from how far the winds had tossed them, and 300-pound parking stops in the lot of St. John's were ripped out by the tornado.
Like, look at this. This is crazy.
Tornado. The hospital was so badly damaged that it was deemed structurally compromised and would later be completely torn down. Nearly every house in the area was flattened, destroyed, or swept away with the force of the winds, while trees were being uprooted and thrown onto the roads. As the tornado continued to move east, it would maintain its now EF5 strength, damaging businesses in the area and several other major buildings on multiple streets. As it moved, it just narrowly missed Joplin's downtown, maintaining a southern trajectory, but neighborhoods in the area would become victims to the tornado. Of the homes that were hit, the concrete porches that had been reinforced during construction, cars were being swept by the furious wind vortex, getting tossed several blocks away, and some vehicles were never even seen again. The pathway of the storm didn't let up, and homes weren't the only victims of its destructive pathway. A major church in the area would be totaled, while the Franklin Technology Center, St. Mary's Catholic Church and School, and Joplin's own local high school would all be destroyed, practically flattened within mere moments. Nearby, the Greenbrier nursing home was completely leveled, leading to 21 fatalities alone.
Where do all these
Dozens of
people
other
go?
fatalities in the nearby vicinity would also occur.
So do people know to just, I don't know, evacuate? Do you evacuate for a tornado or what? If you live in a home, like a brick home. Because he's saying a high school got flattened. You know what I mean?
But luckily, the Joplin High School had been empty at the time, and any graduation ceremonies at the time had been held 3 miles north at Missouri Southern State University. Concluding just before the storm began, the Joplin High School was almost completely demolished, with pieces of debris from the storm being found embedded in whatever stucco walls had been left standing. Steel beams and fencing were picked up, tossed, and embedded into the fields near the school, while steel fence posts were bent to the ground and a school bus was picked up and thrown into a nearby bus garage.
That's fucking wild, bro. That's terrifying.
At this point, the tornado was still going at its EF5 rate, sweeping its way towards the east, where it destroyed several large apartment buildings that housed many families. 14 fatalities in the area would be recorded, while a Dillon's grocery store and a bank were also destroyed, with nothing left in the bank except for the concrete safety deposit box. A 2x4 piece of wood that was picked up earlier had been found speared into a concrete curb nearby.
What? Hold on a minute.
A 2x4 piece of wood that was picked up.
A piece of wood has speared through concrete. I'm sorry, what?
Earlier had been found speared into a concrete curb nearby. The tornado continued pushing forward into the main commercial part of eastern Joplin, destroying more neighborhoods and buildings. At this point, it was still an EF5, heavily rain-wrapped and fast-moving, which means that the tornado was heavily shrouded by torrential rainfall, making the vortex of the storm nearly impossible to spot, as it was hiding behind the wall of rain. At this point, the tornado barreled its way towards a nearby Pizza Hut on South Range Line Road, and the store manager, Christopher Lucas, got 4 employees and 15 customers into the walk-in freezer, but the door was refusing to close. With no solutions left, he wrapped a bungee cord holding the door shut around his arm, and while he was doing this, he would unfortunately be sucked out by the tornado and would pass away. The 19 people he had managed to get into the freezer all survived the storm, as a result of his bravery and quick thinking. A nearby Walmart Supercenter, Home Depot, and several other restaurants and businesses were destroyed, being flattened completely by the tornado, while parts from the businesses were found broken in a nearby field, and cars sitting outside the Home Depot parking lot had been tossed hundreds of yards away.
That is absolutely wild. That guy saved 19 people's lives and lost his own because he was holding on to the door to keep everyone in with his arm. Fuck. That's sad, man.
Destruction of the Home Depot building, 7 people would lose their lives inside of the Home Depot, while a nearby 3-story apartment complex was destroyed, and 2 cell phone towers collapsed into the ground. As the storm continued forwards, it brought down a Pepsi distribution plant in the area, and across the area around Range Line Road and its surrounding streets. At least 20 fatalities were recorded. The EF5 pushed towards Duquesne Road in southeastern Joplin, destroying more buildings and homes. Every building along the industrial park near the corner of 20th and Duquesne was flattened, while metal warehouses were swept clean from their
talks about the price of
heavy
everything.
Industrial vehicles were tossed up to 400 yards from the area. Following this stretch of road, the tornado was now beginning to weaken down from an EF5 to an EF4, and then to an EF3, but that certainly didn't mean its destruction was done. Homes further east in a nearby subdivision were being totaled, and a middle school in the area sustained massive amounts of damage. And the now EF3 continued to push on, throwing vehicles off the highway and mangling those that stayed.
You know what? Surely underneath one of these tables would be a safe place. place.
Around the I-49 interchange, the tornado was between an EF2 and EF3, and it was getting weaker by this point, now pushing into rural areas in Jasper County, causing minor damage to homes and buildings in the area, and eventually slowing down to an EF0. 10 minutes before the Joplin tornado was about to lift, a separate EF2 touched down near Wentworth, around 25 miles southeast of Joplin, but this one never touched the city. The massive Joplin tornado finally lifted east of Diamond at around 6:20 p.m. that same day.
God damn. That's scary, man.
The Joplin tornado was calculated to have tracked 21.69 miles in total, and at its widest point, it reached up to 1 mile. After the dust settled and the rain cleared, authorities counted that there were a total of 158 fatalities and over 1,150 injuries. Approximately 25% of Joplin was destroyed according to the American Red Cross, but emergency officials reported that at least 75% of the city had sustained some level of damage, while 25% of local businesses were gone. Emergency response and rescue efforts were severely hindered from the destruction after 4,000 electricity distribution poles were damaged and more than 110 miles of distribution line itself had been brought down. Approximately 20,000 were left without power, and whatever homes were...
Guys, I'm going to pop my email up on screen again. I'm going to do the thing where we do videos together. If you guys have any like videos or photographs of, you know, damage that was ever put onto your property from like tornadoes or whatever, I'd love to be able to see them and share them with everyone. If you're up for that, you can send videos and photographs and along with a little bit of a story on what happened and what you experienced in an email, and I'll do a video on it soon. Yeah, the email should be on screen now. If I forgot to put it on, it's adam.kaiser2011@gmail.com.
left intact wouldn't get power back until 10 to 12 days after the storm. The
12,
tornado
nearly
costed
2
nearly
weeks.
$2.8 billion in damage, the most costly amount since the 1950s. Didn't get power back until 10 to 12 days after the storm. The tornado costed nearly $2.8 billion.
$2.8 billion. Fuck. And then he goes on to say there hasn't been that expensive one since like 1958 or something. But in 1958, 2.8 billion is probably like 40 billion in today's money, right? What the fuck happened in 1958?
In damage, the most costly amount since the 1950s.
1950s?
Stay there until every home is repaired, until every neighborhood is rebuilt, until every business is back on its feet.
The issue is that even after a tornado ends, there are still problems. A disease outbreak of mucormycosis from floodwaters affected possibly 18 people, causing 5 fatalities, while many people were trapped under the rubble of their destroyed homes. Many properties in Joplin were also now contaminated with lead due to all the old lead mines that used to be there. And in the aftermath of the tornado, 18 people would go on to take their lives. Mental health issues skyrocketed in the city, and many reported having PTSD, depression, and anxiety. The city of Joplin quickly began to rebuild homes in the area. Most of the businesses eventually were able to reopen. The city would also go on to repair the damaged schools and rebuild new schools in the area as well. To this day, however, the tornado that affected Joplin is still fresh in the minds of the residents that stayed behind in the city. It was one of modern America's most destructive storms, and was one of the most deadly tornadoes in history. And its legacy as the first and most destructive EF.
Hey, I tell you, I mean, it's only been 13 years. And, you know, only 13 years when you're thinking about a massive event that killed a lot of people, done a lot of damage. That's not a long time to, you know, I'm sure that's still fresh as shit in minds of people who experienced it and went through it. Every day you probably think about it. Anytime you see bad weather, you probably think, oh my God, is this going to be another one?
Since 1957, the touchdown in the state of Missouri is still around.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mr. Joplin. That was crazy. That was scary. And it's the one thing he touched on there. I never really think about like how something like this can mentally harm someone. PTSD, etc. Fear, future, bad weather. Oh, it's scary, man. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Remember, I've got a video coming in an hour. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.